Welcome to Mr. Magazine, the place where stories of fame are peeled back until their secret cores glimmer. If you value intimate portraits of public lives told with respect and drama, make sure you press subscribe, click join cattle to support our channel, and tap like. Your support allows us to dig deeper and bring these private revelations to light. Now, let us turn to an admission that has already rippled across the country and whose echoes will likely shape conversations for days to come. In a live broadcast that promised the usual mixture of promotion and light confession, actor Erkan Meriç chose to perform something different. He unburdened himself. There are confessions designed for tabloids and others that appear like small miracles because they originate from a place of genuine introspection. Meriç's disclosure belonged to the latter. He did not arrive at the revelation with rhetorical flourish, nor did he frame it as a publicity stunt. Rather, he allowed a memory to surface and named the person who had not left him, Hazal Subaşı. The admission was not a glib statement but a solemn recognition of a feeling that persisted beyond seasons and projects. Meriç's words suggested that affection, once planted, can endure in the quiet soil of a heart even when outward lives diverge. That the actor chose a televised setting to articulate this truth transformed the moment from private ache into a public story, and the reaction was immediate and intense. When the interview, guided by the charged silence, uttered a single name as a question, a hush fell across the studio. Meriç's response was neither a denial nor a coy joke, it was a soft confirmation that carried the gravity of regret and reverence. "Yes," he said, and in that monosyllable the audience perceived years of selective forgetting and careful restraint collapsing into one human admission. The significance of the name lay not merely in recognition but in the way it reframed prior rumors and silent hints that had lingered around the pair since their shared tenure on the series Adn Sen Koy. Viewers who had once imagined an off-screen romance between the actors found their private speculations vindicated, yet for many others, the revelation read like an elegy for what never fully became. The chemistry between the two actors on screen had been a point of fascination and critique in equal measure. Their portrayals of characters who navigated love's complexities had blurred the line between acted intimacy and possible real-life tenderness. In the wake of Meriç's confession, audiences were invited to re-evaluate those performances, to wonder how much of the depth they witnessed was inspired by an affection that existed in daylight as well as on camera. What makes a public confession stirring is less the content than the context and tone. Meriç did not dramatize his statements, he spoke with a measured sincerity that invited listeners to witness rather than to gape. He described the realization of his feelings as belated, an understanding that arrived too late to shape earlier choices but soon enough to make him honest about the past. There is a particular kind of courage in acknowledging regret while also honoring the dignity of the other person involved. Meriç's language tilted toward reverence, he emphasized respect, gratitude for what once existed, and an acknowledgement of the choices that led them apart. That tone tempered any sense of melodrama and instead produced a narrative of human complexity that many found moving. In the hours following the broadcast, representatives and close friends relayed a response that matched the calmness of Meriç's confession. Hazal Subaşı, according to those near her, experienced surprise but responded with a composed warmth. Her reply, brief and diplomatic, suggested she preferred to preserve the memory without inviting sensationalized debate. Saying that she wished to remember the past kindly did not equate to reopening an old chapter, rather, it implied a deliberate choice to hold fondness as a private attestation, not as a public negotiation. This kind of mature reaction, neither cold reticence nor dramatic re-engagement, reframed the story. It was not merely about rekindling romance but about the respectful closure and acknowledgement of what love once meant. For many fans, the actors' on-screen personas had become intertwined with their real identities. This blurring meant that emotional investments were not simply in fictional narratives but in the distinct possibility that real life could follow art. Those sentiments translated into pleas and fantasies on social media platforms. Viewers posted heartfelt appeals urging reconciliation, while others cautioned against reducing private feelings to public entertainment. In the aftermath of the reveal, media outlets sought clarity from sources close to both actors. Several people described the post-series period as one where professional obligations took precedence and where both individuals tried to navigate their careers independently. The narrative emerging from these accounts was not one of acrimony but of practical separation. Obligations, schedules, and the demands of public life had quietly altered the rhythm of their association. Speculation naturally follows any such admission. Would a public acknowledgement of lingering feelings open the door for a renewed connection, or does it merely reinscribe memory with words? A reconciliation would require not only mutual interest but shared willingness to align present lives, careers, residences, expectations, in a way they apparently once chose not to do. For some observers, the confession is a necessary first step; for others, it is a poignant closure. Emotions that persist do not always translate into practical choices. The hum of concerts and cameras, the grind of projects, and the patterns of separate lives complicate the simplest longing. If a reunion occurs, it will be the product of more than sentiment, it will be the work of intention. We turn now to you, our viewers. This moment belongs as much to the audience as it does to the actors. How do you interpret late confessions of love? Do you believe that love revealed after long intervals deserves a second chance? Should public figures preserve privacy in such matters, or does transparency serve a greater truth? Which other Turkish celebrities' untold chapters would you like Mr. Magazine to examine with sensitivity and depth? What is striking about confessions such as Meriç's is their insistence on the persistence of memory. Time alters circumstances but does not always rewrite the map of feeling. The human heart retains coordinates even when journeys diverge, and sometimes a single phrase can reactivate a landscape of recollection. As the days unfold, more details may surface, and the actors involved may choose to speak further or to retreat into silence. Whatever path they take, the moment already stands as an example of candidness in a world that often rewards concealment. Erkan Meriç's words have reopened conversations about timing, respect, and the perennial question of whether late realizations can alter earlier consequences. For now, the central facts remain simple. A respected actor admitted a long-held affection, the object of that affection acknowledged the sentiment with measured grace, and the public, as always, oscillates between nostalgia and curiosity. Thank you for joining us for this delicate yet compelling chapter from the lives of two artists whose work once united millions. If this piece moved you, if it resurfaced personal memories, or if you simply appreciate journalism that treats personal history with care, then please support Mr. Magazine. Subscribe now so you don't miss future revelations. Hit like, share your thoughts below, and tell us which celebrity story you want next. We promise to continue bringing you narratives that look beyond gossip and toward the human truths beneath. Until our next report, remain thoughtful, remain curious, and thank you for being part of the Mr. Magazine community.